Welcome to Grey Primer. My name is Nick. I'm your host, and this is another Warhammer weekend. This time, 4 days, just looking at 40k. In the first Warhammer weekend, I spent the entire time looking at just Ossiarch Bone Reapers, which was amazing. In the second one, I looked at Blood Bowl and Warcry, which fall under Age of Sigmar, pretty much. And I also looked at Kill Team and Aeronautic Imperialis, which fall under 40k. And I wanted to spend this weekend just on 40k. So I'm going to kick off with the Blood Angels Start Collecting set, which has got this amazing Predator in it, which I can't wait to get built. And for the rest of the weekend, it'll be Craft Worlds Battle Force, there'll be a Genestealer Cults Battle Force, there'll also be some 40k scenery. And I've got a couple of blister packs or character models from 40k, and that'll be interesting to sort of get into those as well. I'll probably put those in with the scenery just as a little thank you for watching a scenery video. But I'll be back soon. Some blood. So the last time I built a box of Marines would have been 89 or 90, as in 1989 or 1990. Doesn't even feel that long ago. Fast forward to 2020 and we have some beautifully sculpted miniatures here. Just absolutely stellar. I shudder to think of the, kid version of myself having to go at these sprues, the mess I would have made of them. But anyway, let's get into this. We got our 12 Citadel miniatures here on the spine. You can see the breakdown. We have a Terminator Captain. We have the 10X Blood Angels Tactical Marine Squad. One with a banner at the top there. And as you can see, a whole variation of helmets and weapons. And then we have our Baal Predator at the bottom. And you can see it's based on the Rhino platform. If I sort of block off the turret there, you can see the Rhino lurking beneath. And then on the back, there's much more detail into the types of weapons and everything that are available. Because you have all these, like I say there, you've got a lot of variations. Grav gun and melt-a-gun, flamer, plasma gun, and then you've got everything else here. Power swords, inferno pistols, there's a whole bunch of stuff, heavy flamers, lots of sort of loadouts you can play around with there. And even on the Predator, there's different side weapons, turret weapons. Oh, that's kind of neat. And yeah, there you go. And then sort of dramatic close-ups of Terminator Captain, Tactical Squad, and the Predator. So let's get into this box. Let's see what we got. Okay, cool. So we got a tray. A lot of plastic. So let's start with, I'm guessing this is our Terminator Captain. Oh, yeah. We've not got that in 89. Oh, that lovely detail. I used to be terrified of drilling barrels, and now it's just so straightforward with the drills that are available. Little hand drills. Great detail. Nice little cup there. That's that's pretty much the Blood Drinkers motif right there. Oh, nice. It's Warhammer's logo right there. Okay. Now we get into the first of our Predator sprues. Oh, we just lost a base. Put that over there. Bag of bases there. They look like 32s, and the bigger one looks like a 40, but I could be wrong. And then we have our Predator sprue. So they're kind of bland looking. There's not a huge amount of detail. I guess a lot of it comes down to when you attach all these bits and pieces, all of these, panel covers and stuff, that's when it starts to get the feel for what it is. Yeah, you can see where there's additional detail in these panels and things. So I guess once it's all connected together, it'll start to be a bit more interesting visually. 2006 on that sprue. And then again, sort of panels with some detail. I mean, the thing is, with something like a tank, it just gives you such a large canvas for doing designs and adding little additional details. Yeah, you have so much space on the outer surface of these things to have a play around with, you know, fine details. You could do some freehand painting and things. Because I guess if you were in the real world, one of these tanks would have a bit of local graffiti on it from the tank unit that's driving around. You know, give it a quirky name or something. And then we have the last of the Predator sprues. And this one, let's see if this one has a date. So 2009 on this one. There you go. So I'm guessing this is the standard Rhino sprue, and then this is the Predator sprue. 3 years between the two of them. I'm guessing. Could be wrong. But you get all the turret bits and pieces here. You have part of the driver there, maybe. Turret gunner, some more Blood Angels detail there. Turret covers, different weapons. That looks like a flamer. It's got a little pilot light on it. And it'd be very cool, I think, to get this built. There's those guns from the box cover that I was looking at with this sort of rotating barrel. Yeah, I think that's the most exciting one for me, so far anyway. It's been a while since I built some armor. So here we get into our tactical marine sprues. There's a sort of a double sprue here, which has weapons, backpacks, heads, some armor, and then this is, I guess, the leg sprue. So they all got that bow-legged look to them, which is a little bland, but if you're fielding a few dozen of these, you know, it doesn't really matter. Nice Blood Angels logo with the purity seal hanging off it. This one's got maybe a blood vial hanging off. Oh, I like the wings there on that one. Get that rotated around. Yeah, really distinctly Blood Angel. Which is good, you know. It would be very easy to just include like a transfer sheet, as you know, have these just as both sort of shoulder pads is completely smooth, throw a transfer sheet in. Having these actual sort of sculpted details that show the chapter designation, yeah, it just makes it feel a bit more intentional. Then we have torsos, heads. I'll flip those heads over in a sec. Backpacks have additional detail on them I wasn't really expecting. We can just maintain focus here. Looks like a bit of a sort of bit of cloth hanging down there from that body armor. Kilt, would you call that? I don't know. Some hand-to-hand weapons. Some hands. Look like open hands as well, so you can choose what weapons, or maybe it just ends in a stump. No, I can see the hand there. Now we've got a selection of firearms. That kind of looks like a scope to me, which is kind of interesting. That'd be cool if it were that modular. Power swords, and let's have a quick look at these helmets. Okay, somebody out there can probably say what series that helmet is. And then we got all beakies. I love those. And then no helmet at all. That's a brave warrior who's in the battle in 40k universe with no helmet. And we have, I guess this would have been from a blister pack, our Blood Angels Captain in Terminator armor. Instructions there. And I did not know this was included. It was very nice. It's funny, after mentioning that that they could have just gone for decal sheet, it's great that they also included a decal sheet. So sculpted details plus that. Company markers there. Vehicle markings. Oh, death company markers as well. Lovely. And then we have black and white instructions for the tactical squad. Ooh, nice art. I'm sure oh, wow. Oh, that's lovely. That is really unexpected. Cool. Yeah, so that looks like sort of, it's going to be a bit of a production line, but I don't mind that so much. Yeah, they look pretty straightforward. And then a color instruction book for the Predator. Yep. Oh, nice. And some... This is what it looks like. Images. And what looks like a nice little render down there below it. Yeah. And then details of all of its stats on the back. Okay, so I'm going to go get these built, and I'll be back in a sec. Bye. Welcome back to Start Collecting Blood Angels. It's day one of our Warhammer 40k weekend, and it really was an amazing place to start. This Blood Angels Start Collecting box had a lot of variety in there. It comes with a Baal Predator. You get the 10 Blood Angels Tactical Marines. You get the Terminator Captain. And there's a lot to do in there. I loved building the Predator. I love that the weapon system on it are flexible. You don't glue them, so you can still move them around, which I guess would be really cool if you want to create like dioramas, something like that. The tracks do not move. The tracks are fixed in place. And, but you know, that's not a big issue. I went with the larger Flamestorm cannon on my build, but it also had this option for the twin-linked assault cannon, which is this bio here. But yeah, you can leave the turret free moving, you can leave the stanchions on the side free moving, and the sponsons, on the side, which I love. And even the weapons within tilt up and down still freely. You don't have to glue those in place. I suppose you could if you wanted to. We've got the Terminator Captain, and then we got the Tactical Squad. So let's just have a quick look here through the different units that come with it. We'll have a look at the Captain first, because he comes with a pretty neat Storm Bolter and Thunderhammer. And you can see the barrels drilled out there. Just so much detail, so many little bits and pieces to paint. Beautiful robe at the back. He's got it nicely accessorized there. The Blood Angels seem to be well into their accessorizing. You'll see lots of sort of blood vials and chalices and all sorts of things hanging off them. The only weird thing about this one was this piece of armor here, which has the blood drop on it. It didn't seem to connect cleanly to the miniature. It took some wiggling to get that sort of to settle down. That was the only odd thing. It wasn't optional, and I think there was one other variant, but it was okay. I mean, it looks fine on there. It fits in with the rest of the miniature, and I like the sort of the looking off this way in the direction that the rifle is pointing. So I was able to make him a bit dramatic as well. He's on the larger base, of course. So let's have a look at some of these tactical marines. So I've got one here. Let me see, just checking these weapon types. So this one has a combi plasma and a chainsword. So there's the combi plasma in all its glory. Nice little blood drop ornament. No, it's probably not. It's probably very offensive to a Blood Angel to call it an ornament, hanging off the barrel there.
and a very cool chainsword, and some really nice design across the rest of the armor. Loads going on, like I said, with these ones. And let's have a look at this next one. So this next Marine is carrying a grav gun, and I popped a scope onto the top as well. There are a few loose scopes on the sprue, so I threw a few of those on where I sort of felt that they fitted. He's got a great expression on his face there as well. Really nice. And then we have a Marine carrying one of the heavy bolters. So this is really beautiful. I love the way he was holding onto the top of it there. Drilled out the barrels on that, as you can see. And he's just looking off in this direction, laying down some heat. Different backpack for the heavy bolter as well. And lots of ornamentation on that too. Looks good. Now we have a melt-a-gun. I put the pistol here onto his hip as well. I thought that would be pretty neat, especially for someone who is carrying like a flame weapon. I figured the pistol would be pretty handy as a backup. Nice bit of real estate there on the shoulder, so you can get some decals into place. So this one kind of felt like a sergeant to me. He's got another one of those storm bolters. He's got the sword raised, you know, few purity seals and things. I felt that he just had that kind of more senior look to him, like a non-commissioned officer or something like that. I thought that was a neat looking mini. But yeah, maybe that last one could be thought of as a corporal or something like that, if such a thing exists within the Blood Angels rank system, because this is very much the sergeant. Got the banner going, the power fist, the bolter with the sling. I think I popped that scope on. I don't think it came with that. And I just gave it that extra little bit of drama. But I like the pose. I think it's almost like he's just pointing at somebody who's crawling along on the ground in front of him, just about to put them out of their misery. That's a cool mini. So that's the sergeant. And then we'll have a look at this sort of more standard trooper with a bolter. But even with that, the bolter itself has some ornamentation on it. These sort of cords wrapped around it. The armor has sort of wings on the legs. And then the shoulder pads there's got space for some text maybe to be popped into that. And there's just drops of blood everywhere. And we've got one of our Marines here with a flamer. And I like the chalice sort of design on the back of on his backpack there. Again, just blood drops everywhere, which is just so cool. Like these guys, I think they know how cool they are. Purity seals there hanging off the shoulder. And nice little detail on the leg there too. So even the standard troops have something going for them. Another one of those bolters with the sort of the cords across it. Different design on the backpack again. And just really nice. Even the standard sort of tactical Marines have something interesting about all of them. And the last one here has the plasma gun. And again has this different design on the back of the backpack. Just beautiful. It's got a little surprise there hanging off his waist too, which is a nice touch. And there's lots of options for really personalizing these with different heads and everything, different helmet designs and different sort of attachments. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, making those. And last but definitely not least, we have the Baal Predator. The Baal Predator, I'm just going to show you sort of holding this in place. He has the beautiful turret. I'll show you the turret separately. Without the turret, it's kind of like a rhino until you get into the sides of it. And then it looks a lot more serious with these sponson weapons. And look at the way that sort of, the belt feeds into it here. And like I said, at the start there, this all still moves. These move up and down. You know, and they feel solid enough. They don't feel fragile. But I would kind of be careful what you move them by. You don't want to move it by this flimsy purity seal. But yeah, those move around, up and down. Really cool. Cool idea. and same on the other side. So you can have it looking whatever way you want. You got the missile pod on the side here. You can actually pop that anywhere. But I thought it kind of sat well there. I thought it was a good spot for it. Especially everything else seems to be covered by different guns. I figured down there would be handy. You can add all these little canisters and things to the outside. There's a vent here at the back. I think there was an option to leave one of those open, but I kind of liked it tight and closed. And then you have these great icons. You can pop onto them to personalize your tank. I popped what looks like the Blood Drinkers logo to the front here because this is going to be Blood Drinkers Baal Predator. Got the Imperial Eagles on the front. And in the back I put this more religious looking sort of angelic thing. But a beautiful tank to build. And then we go over to the main turret and we can see that, you know, you can move the actual turret here. We got the Flamestorm cannon on here, which you can move up or down, and it will stay in place. So if you are doing like a diorama or something, you can have it and it'll stay there. I don't know how well it's going to move when I prime it, and that's kind of why I wanted to show you this particular one unprimed. And we've got the turret gunner here as well. And you can see sort of where the actual turret sort of covers here folded back to allow him to hop up and lay down some fire. And then we have some more iconography here. This is all optional, but it gives you some more real estate for putting logos onto. And then we got the smoke grenade launchers on either side of the barrel. I thought that gave it a really nice look when straight on. It kind of felt, you know, it just felt like it worked for me. And then just popping it back onto the main base, you can see just how lethal looking this Predator is. I just think it's a beautifully put together wagon. I have a feeling, yeah, that's not glued either. And that gives you sort of access to the inside. Although, now that it's all closed up, it might be difficult to paint. I could probably get a little bit of access through here. But I think I might just glue that up and leave the inside to my imagination rather than trying to paint it now that it's mostly glued up. But yeah, that's it. That's the Start Collecting Blood Angels set. It's going to be the base of my Blood Drinkers army, because that's how I'm going to paint them. I'm going to add Death Company to that later on. I'm going to add some more, you know, mechanized units to it. Some more Terminators. And I think it's going to end up as a pretty cool looking army. I'm very much looking forward to getting back into painting. I think this is a great place to start. But yeah, huge thumbs up for the Start Collecting Blood Angels kit. Great value for money. I think this was £60. I got this from the Warhammer shop in Belfast before lockdown. And I think that it represents really good value for money. You get the full unit of Marines there. You get that really cool tank, which was an absolute pleasure to build. I think I built it over like 2 or 3 evenings. And then you have the Terminator Captain as well, which is just a cracking looking figure. That brings us to the end of day 1 of our 4 days of 40k. And I think it's been a very positive kickoff. I will be back same time tomorrow with the Gene Stealer Cults Battle Force, which was a huge undertaking to get all of that built. That was a lot of miniatures. Excited to get them in front of you. So please join me again tomorrow when I'll be doing that. Till then, take care, like, subscribe, share, and thanks for joining me. Take care now. Bye-bye.